Okay. Welcome to Honors 110. My name is Rachel Shor, and I am one of the graduate teaching assistants for Professor Stafford's section this semester. So this is my introductory video. I am a clinical psychology doctoral candidate at George Mason, so I'm also in graduate school. And that just means that I teach and I see clients and I do research. And prior to coming to this program, I got my master's in counseling psychology, and I worked as a trauma therapist for a couple of years in Philadelphia. So let's see, I'm looking at my list. Research experience. So my first real research experience was in the master's program, where I was part of a team that did qualitative research on racial socialization. So we interviewed and then we coded and analyzed the data using what's called the CQR method, or consensual qualitative research method of data analysis for qualitative research. And then the research that I am currently doing in my lab with Dr. Lauren Cattaneo primarily looks at intimate partner violence, empowerment, civic engagement. And what's really cool about the research right now is that it's longitudinal data collection. So instead of gathering data just at one point in time, cross-sectionally, we're gathering data at multiple time points, which means that we can see how attitudes and behaviors change over time, but we can also predict things, which you can't do with cross-sectional data. So that is really interesting. And I'm also at the point in my program where I am working on my dissertation, and I'm interested in looking at how sexual assault survivors disclose during the process of psychological help seeking in order to build resilience. So what the research shows, and there's lots of studies that are out there on sexual assault survivors and help seeking, but what we know from that is that despite the high prevalence rates of sexual assault and the negative impact that it has on survivors' lives, help seeking tends to be very, very low. It hovers at about 30% of survivors, but in some at-risk populations like college students, rates tend to be much lower, like as low as 5%. And in that body of literature, disclosure is often looked at as, yes, someone talked about their unwanted sexual experience, or no, they didn't, so in a dichotomous fashion as opposed to on a continuum. And the outcome have primarily been looking at reduction of symptoms as opposed to building personal strengths, components of resilience like self-efficacy. So that's what I'm interested in studying. As far as my intellectual curiosity or interest, so I see clients, and with my kid clients, I've just started working animal balloons back in, mostly because I really wanted to. And so I have an animal balloon to make. I would suggest maybe like muting or lowering the volume. I'm hoping that it doesn't pop. But it could be very, very squeaky. So I'm going to make an animal balloon practice since I'm trying to build up my skills. Okay, so this is the part that would likely pop. Hopefully, yes, it didn't pop. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to try to make it in the screenshot so that you can see. And I'm making the head. So this is my favorite animal balloon, a dog with a meatball on its belly. Under time. So, a dog with a meatball in its belly.